Coffee time with John. Benny Hill, English comedian, had a quote: "Never assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me." Spelling the word assume. You know, when we go through life, we tend to work through the process of our fight or flight response. We meet people, we assume certain things. We assume that this person looks this way, so that's the way they're going to be. When I was much younger, I had one woman who was a young woman who was very much into spirituality, and her immediate assumption about me was that I was an alcoholic. Now, it was funny because at the time I didn't drink at all, and never did a drug in my life. But she met me, she looked at me, I had long hair and a beard because of the Renaissance festivals, and she instantly assumed that I was an alcoholic. And I thought it was interesting. After she and I had a few conversations, she said, "Oh my God, I was completely wrong." Yeah, you should never do snap judgments or assumptions. You should definitely give people the benefit of the doubt, typically. But assumptions can be put in place specifically to make us right. To give you an example, I had a woman recently in the comments section call me a liar. I had made the comment that I had read most of Dolores Cannon's books, especially the ones on Jeshua, and she said, "You're a liar. You haven't read a word, anything she's ever written." I was like, "Yeah, I have. In fact, if you walked into my library, you'd see them on my shelf," right? But her assumption was I hadn't. Why was that her assumption? Her assumption was because she wanted to be right. She wanted, she believed Dolores Cannon's words, and because I did not believe Dolores Cannon's words, she assumed I was a fraud, right? She says, "I think you're just disgruntled because Dolores Cannon didn't want to work with you." Couldn't have been further from the truth. And what I've often said is Dolores Cannon was very well intentioned, but from a scientific level, there were inconsistencies in there that make her data questionable because of the idea that she didn't have peer reviews. She was the only scientist, the only regressionist, and so there was no other peer review. And so when you have a closed study like that, what happens is you end up with a non-provable outcome because you haven't had any peers review it, and or have that person be regressed by somebody else without the preconceived notions of the person who regressed them the first time. So, but my thought was she was very well intentioned. She did great things, right? But I don't agree with some of the findings that she found because my memory said something different. But this person assumed this entire story about me, right? We often make assumptions about people based upon our desire to be right. We choose our truth, and we argue against anybody who doesn't believe what we believe. One of the things you'll find on this channel, I hope, is that I often say, I don't expect you to take my truth. I expect you to find your own truth, to listen to what I'm saying or not, depending on whether it feels right to you or not. And, spirituality is a personal journey. How many times have I said that on the channel, right? But to make an assumption is to shut down possibility. To make an assumption is to shut down the possibility of something different. And it really comes back to the idea of you need to keep your possibilities open, because God is infinite. There's nothing impossible in God. There's nothing that's not possible in God. There's nothing not possible in this world of creation that we live in. And when we choose to lock ourselves down into one school of thought, we close ourselves to possibilities. We anchor ourselves to a position rather than realizing it's all beautiful. I often say I found beauty in the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the writings of Buddha, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Star Wars, Shakespeare. I found beauty and truth and spirituality in all of it. But I'm open to that possibility. I'm open to the possibility that I live in the image of God, and God speaks to me in all forms, in all methods. Like sometimes I'll be sitting. I remember one time I was driving home from a location, and a bald eagle flew down right in front of my windshield and was about, I would say, 10 feet off my windshield, and just coasted there in front of my car for about a mile. And I could see his individual feathers. It was just this beautiful moment. It was gorgeous. It was God communicating. You know, when I first started having my big epiphanies about who I was, that past life memory, who I was, is a very interesting way of saying it, because I don't really know what reincarnation is, as I've said many times. But I remember being in South Florida. I was working at a festival down there, and I was really contemplating everything that was going on, because I was right in the thick of it, right in the middle of it all. And I got up and I walked over to this pond in this park, and I sat there at the pond, and I had my dog with me. He was a beautiful Rottweiler. He came over, and he's laying right beside me. Now, he's completely relaxed, completely calm. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just contemplating what's going on, and I'm feeling this amazing presence. And I looked out onto the pond, and on the pond there was a log. And I started seeing motion on the log. I looked at, and there were 13 turtles on that log. I counted them, like babies and full-size ones, on that log sunbathing, right? And I looked to my left, and there was a rabbit, like 15 feet away. And there was an iguana in a tree. It was like everywhere I'd looked, there was another animal. There was ducks. I could probably, if I was going to count, I'd say probably within 40, 50 feet of me, there was probably 15 or 16 different animals, including my dog. You know, and all these turtles, you know, and ducks and rabbits and iguanas, because I was in South Florida. And it was just one of those really beautiful moments where I realized that I was in the image of God, and that was a communication that all things are possible. My 110-pound Rottweiler did not bark at any of them, right? But I could have easily sat there in that moment, and I could have been having this huge experience and denied it all because of an assumption. Denied it all because I assumed that everything that I was going through was just crazy talk. You know, that connection with God is around you all the time. And when you make an assumption, it skews your view. It stops you from seeing it. It reduces your connection. And assumptions are just anchors. And usually, as I said, they're anchors because you have chosen a belief and you just need to be right. And everything is possible. Possibilities are infinite. And God is infinite. And God is love. And God surrounds you and speaks to you all the time. And if you make an assumption, you won't be able to hear it. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. The John of New channel is solely funded by your generous donations and purchases of private readings and merchandise. To help out, go to johnofnew.com or use the donation link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.